Dun, 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 dun. Superman. Dun, 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 dun. Superman. Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 3. This is the Mr. Hornsby 3 show, and today we are going to do overall thoughts and reactions to My Adventures of Superman. I'm first going to be reacting to the ending to My Adventures of Superman Season 3. It just wrapped up this past Saturday. But before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out real quick, because this guy is really... Oh shoot, let me freaking just scab off my face. I want to give a quick shout out to someone who's really, really appreciate them highlight my videos on their channel. And I want to give a quick shout out, a big shout out to Mark Fusion for shouting out my Mr. Hornsby 3 show video again. He did the Halloween Figure Havoc a few years ago. And then just the other day he showed off my, I think it was one of my toy hunts I did earlier this year when I was looking for that Monday Night Wars Hulk Hogan, which I'm still looking for, which I'm probably not going to find it because Scalper's going to nab it up. But the Monday Night Wars Hulk Hogan, so shout out to Mark Fusion. I appreciate you highlighting my videos for me. Anyway, now let's get to My Adventures of Superman. And you told me I was going to be in a world ever again where there's a new X-Men cartoon, a new Batman cartoon, and a new Superman cartoon, I would have said pinch me, because there's no way it'll ever happen again. But that is the case right now. I just gave my thoughts on X-Men 97 Season 2 last week. I gave my thoughts on Batman Crate Crusader a couple weeks ago. So now it's time to talk about My Adventures with Superman Season 3, because it just wrapped up Saturday, and I'll tell you what, I thought it was a good season, but I think it was probably weaker than Season 1 and Season 2, because Season 1 and Season 2 were pretty good. And the reason why it was weak was mainly because of the villains. Because at the end of Season 2, after the whole Brainiac mess and the Supergirl mess, you're like, well, they kind of teased that Lex Luthor was going to become the main villain of Superman, Lex Luthor, but by the end of the season, Lex Luthor had to help Superman twice in the freaking in these episodes. So I'll talk about the first half of the season, then I'll talk about the second half of the season, and then I'll give my overall thoughts on Season 3 as a whole, and something that they teased at the end of that final episode of Season 3. So let's talk about the first half of the season, because first half of the season, the show starts off with Superman and them finding this place where Bizarro is. And Bizarro has been staying in this place for a while. I think it's like one of the clones that Lex Luthor tried to make, but failed. And Superman and them find Bizarro. They fight Bizarro because they thought, because Bizarro thought they were trying to, desecrate the grave of the guy that took care of Bizarro until he passed away or died or whatever. Then by the end of that episode, Bizarro becomes friends with Superman and Supergirl and Jimmy and Lois and all that stuff. So after that, the biggest crux of the season was focusing on Lex Luthor creating Cyber Superman, which he was trying to make him, more, popular than Superman. But the thing is, with a robot, and I mean, if you haven't seen X-Men, then come on now, with the robot, or AI, or whatever you want to call him, you end up getting in a situation where the freaking cyborg robot goes completely evil and tries to destroy the world. And that's exactly what Cyber Superman did. Now, also I think it was like episode 3 or 4, we got Superman and Lois Lane's son from the future, Superboy, coming back. He said he came back to protect Superman from dying, which, you know, that's what irritated me with this first half of the season, because it's like, Superman dying, what? Is Darkseid coming? Or, you know, Doomsday or something? No. He was there to protect Superman from being killed by Cyber Superman. Now, it really annoys me because, you know, Superman, yeah, he has died before, but he's only died at the hands of Doomsday and probably someone else. So the fact that they freaking went with this whole, this whole thing that his son came back to the past to stop him from being killed by Cyber Superman. I mean, yeah, I know Lex Luthor put kryptonite in Cyber Superman to take down Superman, but come on now, freaking Superman getting beat by a freaking getting killed by a cyborg. The only cyborg that should be able to kill Superman is Brainiac. Brainiac's not a cyborg, he's an AI. But, I mean, oh man, that was just stupid. I hate when they do stuff like this. They always use this trope. Oh, well, I came back to keep you from being killed by this person. Oh. Like, you know, if you look at Dragon Ball Z, for example, because this show's kind of trying to be like Dragon Ball Z. Look at Dragon Ball Z. Trunks came back in time to stop Goku and them from being killed by the androids. Because the androids were pretty strong at that point in the show. But then Goku and them figured out a way to get stronger than the androids and they killed the androids. So anyway, by the end of this fight with Cyber Superman, which Lex Luthor was controlling, but then he lost control of him. But by the end of this fight, Superman does something, like he has some kryptonite all over him. Then he does like some kind of Super Saiyan, supercharged thing, and then just brutalizes frickin' Cyber Superman and beats him, but then he loses his power, so that's how the first half of season 1 ends. Now, when Superman and Lois Lane's son goes back into the future, it's controlled by Lex Luthor, which I'm like, okay, well that's cool. You know, Lex Luthor, he's a villain. He's going to be the main villain of this season. Nope. Because then the second half of the season, well, first off, the second half of the season, it has Supergirl taking the brunt of the work because Superman don't have his powers no more. And, you know, Supergirl's taking on all these villains because Superman can't. I mean, it was like, I feel like after that, I think it was like episode 6. After that episode, it kind of like was pretty much filler episode. Until we got to the Eradicator episodes, and then like, you know, Amanda Waller comes, she's gonna arrest Lex Luthor because of what Lex Luthor is doing. And Slade kind of betrays him or whatever, but then, only because he wasn't getting credit or something for the work, and like told him we weren't going to be partners or some stuff like that. But then we get to the battle with the Eradicator. We also get Superman and Lois Lane's kids coming back because now they have a boy and a girl. The boy's name was John. I forgot what the girl's name was, but they come back because Lois Lane sent them back in time to kill Lex Luthor. I guess Lex Luthor made something that killed Superman in the future. And I guess it was the Eradicator, which like I said, that's just stupid. That's just dumb. I mean, Eradicator's pretty much the same freaking powers as Superman. Same with Cyber Superman. Only difference is, you know, he can put kryptonite in him, which I thought, you know, maybe Cyber Superman would become Metallo. But we didn't see Metallo. So we have the battle. Superman's kids are not doing well. Kira's having issues, and they can't stop him. So Superman's like, well, I need my powers. And also there's this thing where John don't want to be close to freaking Superman because apparently Superman, like, abandoned him. What the heck is that up there? Is that Daddy Longlegs? I think so. But Apparently Superman, I guess, like died or something in the future, and didn't like the fact that he had to keep living up to his father's reputation, which is another trope they do with superhero stuff. So I'm not shocked. But anyway, Superman gets his powers back, and they all take on the Eradicator because the Eradicator went into the future. Well, Battle took the time bands that Superman and Lois Lane's kids had. Took the time bands, went into the future, and I guess went to different timelines and like destroyed different Supermans and Superman's family and all that stuff. Probably killed Lex Luthor, something like that, I don't know. So then they come back to the present, and, you know, Superman's son, John, is going to try to kill him. Slicing him with some sword that they got. I think Amanda Waller gave it to him. And, like, charge their powers up or something like that. And then that don't work. So Superman, because once he chopped him and split him in half, it made him two people. So Superman's like, oh, I need my power. So Superman goes and gets his powers. That took a couple episodes. And then he comes and saves the day pretty much. The rest of the team helps. But they get wiped out, so it comes down to Superman and the Eradicator, and Superman beats the Eradicator. He like beats them up so bad that he evaporated. I don't know, something like that. Because Superman got like his powers back, and he had like this armor. But you know, the thing that got me excited, and I hope we get a season 4 of this show, because this show deserves a season 4 because it's been pretty consistent and consistently good for the past couple seasons, and this season was pretty good too. Not as good as the last 2 seasons, but you know, still good enough to warrant part 3. So anyway, Amanda Waller arrests Lex Luthor, takes him to the Catman's prison. She asks Lex Luthor what made Lex Luthor decide to do what he did. So he's talking about how he's been watching all these different planets and all that stuff. He's seen a planet destroyed, and he said, all the things I've seen you don't want to see, or you don't want to think about. So what I'm thinking Lex Luthor is seeing when he's watching all these different planets and all that is, I think he was seeing Planet Apocalypse and Darkseid. And that's why I say I hope we get season 4, because I think if season 4, if we make Darkseid the main villain, that's going to be awesome. Especially with the fact that we got 2 cliffhanger endings at the end of season 2 and season 4 of Young Justice that did not ever come back to give us the Darkseid episodes we were thinking we were going to get. But anyway, so I'm thinking now it could also mean that he's seen General Zod, but I think that would just be lame if they went with General Zod in that, because first of all, the Eradicator transformed into General Zod. Not only did the Eradicator transform into General Zod, the Eradicator and Cyber Superman both had the same powers as Superman. So I think it would make no sense to go with General Zod for season 4. I think it's all the sense in the world to go with Darkseid. Maybe Darkseid, because also I don't think we got a resolution to that that episode in season 1 where all the Lois Lanes come from the future, and they're like the Lois Lanes from the future to protect the world from Superman or something like that. Maybe they came from the future where Darkseid took control of Superman by brainwashing him. So, I don't know. Maybe that's what we get in season 4, if we get a season 4. And I think the show should get season. And I honestly, out of all 3 shows, I think season 3 of My Adventures with Superman was better than frickin' season 2 of X-Men 97, and better than season 2 of Batman Caped Crusader. Even though I did like both of those seasons, I liked Caped Crusader season 2 especially a lot better than season 1. And X-Men 97 season 2 was good up until the final battles and all, up until the final 2 episodes, then it just went downhill. Except for that Mystique cliffhanger, that was awesome. Which I did some predictions on that at the end of the show. Or at the end of the video, and I talked about that last week. Why is a freaking bird trying to get into my window? They had those boxes up for the air conditioner. But, yeah, I mean, I liked Superman season. My Adventure Superman season 3. Hope we get to season 4. I could care less about the stupid Green Lantern show that's coming out. I can care less about whatever other plans they got with the My Adventure series. I think My Adventure Superman was good. And when they first were advertising My Adventure Superman, I was like, man, this show's gonna be dumb. It's gonna be stupid. It's not gonna be as good as the old animated series. I mean, it's still not as good as the old animated series, but it's pretty good. You know, because the old animated series was just amazing. I loved the old Superman animated series in the 90s. And, you know, plus we don't get many Superman shows or cartoons much. We had Smallville, which lasted for quite a number of seasons. We had the Adventures of Lois and Clark. We had the cartoon that came out in the 60s or 70s, and then we had the 90s cartoon. And that's about it we've had. Oh, yeah, the George Reeves show back in, like, what, the 50s? I thought then. I probably wasn't even a frickin', I don't know. I wasn't even a thought then. But, My Adventures of Superman, and yeah, it's a tough spot that as long as they put on Toonami at 12 o'clock on Saturday night. But, I still enjoyed it. I think it's good. I loved season 3. I hope we get season 4. And hopefully Darkseid's the main villain. Since they're not going to pull the trigger. Anyway, it looks like Lex Luthor's not going to be the villain anyway, because he freaking went to jail in Katniss at the end of that episode. So, I hope we get a season 4 of this show. I care less about all the other crap they're thinking about doing. I think they're even thinking about doing the My Adventure with Batman. Alright, well, if you're doing My Adventure with Batman, why? Because, you know, you got the freaking, you have the Batman, Cape Crusader show, and then they've announced an Absolute Batman cartoon. And you also got coming out, I think, maybe next week or something, they got the Nightfall Part 1, which I'm going to watch when it hits HBO Max, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be on HBO Max. I'm going to watch that, and then I'm going to watch Part 2. Especially with the fact Bane's the main villain in Nightfall Part 1. So, I don't know. I think the reason why this season's weaker than the last two is because James Gunn took control of the writing. And, you know, like I said, the season was good. The only thing I didn't like was the villains. Because it was Cyber Superman. And then it was the Eradicator. And then, like, Cyber Superman didn't want to be killed. Or, you know, Superboy came back to keep Superman from being killed from Cyber Superman. If it was Doomsday or Darkseid, I'd be like, he's gonna die if he doesn't beat these guys. But you know what Darkseid? I mean, Darkseid has never really succeeded at trying to kill Superman. Doomsday has killed Superman. We know from the comics and all that stuff. But come on now. And then again, they didn't even keep Superman dead that long in that comic. But yeah. Overall, I thought it was good. I'll give it a 5 out of 5. I mean, it was a good season. And they also left it open that, Supergirl and Jimmy Olsen still didn't get together. So, of course, they got that resolved. Also, Lois Lane, proposed to Superman. So, we got to see the Superman-Lois wedding, don't we? Plus, we got to see how the future changed when his kids went back to the future. And I'm thinking that when they went back to the future, it was because it was ruled by Darkseid. That's what I think. So, yeah. But, yeah, now all the good animation's out of the way. I think Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has a season 2 coming, but I ain't heard nothing about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Especially with all the X-Men with all the X-Men movie news that we've gotten lately. It's coming. There's a movie coming out in 2028. We got Adam Driver playing Mr. Sinister. They've already cast freaking Cyclops and Jean. What else? I think they've cast Beast and all them as well. And they revealed the whole cast at D23. So, X-Men movie 2028. I hope it's a good movie. And I'm glad they're finally making a live-action Mr. Sinister. I've been waiting forever for a live-action Mr. Sinister. But anyway... Mr. Sinister is my favorite villain. That's why he's got I got two Mr. Sinister figures on my new X-Men figure shelf that I put up. One in the box from the comics, and then the one from the animated series. Alongside with my Magneto, my Cable, my Apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse. But anyway, yeah, really enjoyed My Adventures of Superman Season 3. That's one of the shows I look forward on Toonami for anymore, because like they haven't put no really good anime on there lately. I know they brought back Blue Exorcist and they had a couple of I'm like, I wasn't really too fond of Blue Exorcist anyway. But yeah. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you thought of My Adventures of Superman Season 3. What do you think of Season 1 and 2? Do you even watch My Adventures with Superman? I know the last video I did with this, when I reviewed the first 2 episodes, it didn't do too well in the views, but you know what? It's a Superman cartoon. Not as good as the 90s cartoon, but you know what? It's still good enough to watch. And like I said, it's one of the things I look forward to on watching Toonami these days, because they ain't putting nothing good on lately. They haven't put on the frickin' what is it, training arc in that from Demon Slayer or the Infinite Castle yet. But Infinite Castle's still on Prime, so we probably won't see that for a while anyway. They didn't put on JoJo's Part 6. And they showed JoJo's Part 1 through 5. That's how I watched JoJo's, was through Toonami's new run. Which 3 is still my favorite because it's got my favorite Joestar, and that's Jojiro. Still mad they killed him off Part 6. But yeah. Anyway, I'll probably talk about all that stuff with Anime Month next year. I know Anime Month was not great this past year, but next year I promise Anime Month will be better. Yeah, actually the last couple years Anime Month has not been that great, so, you know. That's because I did a lot of stuff on Facebook too when I was doing the Facebook Live thing, so. Right. But, this My Adventures of Superman is kind of considered an anime, so yeah. Anyway, that'll do it. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more, follow my Facebook fan page, Mr. Horn Video 3 Show. Follow my Facebook business page, Trigen Toys, and also, oh yeah, one more thing before I go. R.I.P. to the chick who played Kirby in the Scream 4 and Scream, what was it, 6? Scream 4 and 6. R.I.P. Thoughts and prayers out to her family. You know, it's a tough time. She was only 36 years old when she passed away. That's freaking crazy, man. She's younger than me. And I'm like 43. Like, 7 years younger, maybe? I don't know. But that's sad to hear that someone died that young. But apparently, supposedly, she had a bunch of demons and stuff going on. You know, and sometimes people with demons, they just struggle. So it's sad to hear. Sure, a lot of people were hoping to see her in a future Scream movie, but, you know, unfortunately, things like this happen. So, R.I.P. to her, and, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to her family. And also, before I go, again, special thank you shout out to Mark Fusion. Go check out his show. Talks a lot about a lot of different things. He does movie reviews, which is like his shortest videos. He does the Boyd Watches stuff. Yeah, so yeah. Go check out his channel. And I really appreciate him, you know, showing love to my channel. You know, so that'll do it. Catch you guys later. Peace out.